Hello everyone, hope everyone is well and safe. Thanks for all your support on my previous video, and today I hope I can share this exciting project that I did. It's a very simple water change system, more like an automation for my water tank. So with this system in place, the maintenance becomes a lot more hassle free and also stress free, and most importantly no more water spillage. It's very neat. So let's get rolling. So let's start by discussing the old-fashioned way of how I was doing it. So basically siphoning the water from the tank and then manually filling up a bucket, and then of course transferring it to the tanks, either using this particular glass or also using a small pump to the bucket, and then pumping the water into the tank. There's always quite a lot of spilled water, and it's a bit messy, and I'll have to do quite a bit of cleaning after the process, so it's always a bit messy, not the enjoyable part of this particular hobby. And also when you have multiple tanks, it becomes a time-consuming process. So I have this small mini pump that I bought for my gardening project. It has an automatic timer into it, and it's a rechargeable battery, and basically it can pump water at quite a decent strength. And since my gardening project is still in work in progress, I decided to use it for my aquarium for the time being. It's USB powered, and I also have a solar component to it. So I have this divider. Basically these are used mainly for air pumps, and since I'm also using the same tubes, I decided to use it instead of air, I will be using it with water. And what I really like about is these particular ways of controlling the outlet. So I think this is going to be very important for the project. So I'm going to place this divider on top of my beach aquarium tank, and in such a way that even if there is water leakage, it will actually go into the tank. And then why the beach aquarium tank is because even if the beach aquarium tank fills up, it actually goes to the tub below, so there won't be any water spillage outside. So that's the idea behind it. So I'll attach all the respective tubes to it. The lengths, of course, depending upon where the tanks are situated. And then I attach it to this particular plastic cover, and I'm going to place it on top of the tank. The plastic covers are always there on these tanks, mainly especially if the fishes are quite jumpy, so it's not like it's not like a new addition to the tank. So the smallest tube will be covering this tank, and the rest of the tubes will be covering the other tanks, including the tub below. And the flow of the water depends upon the tank's needs, so this is something that's going to be more adjusted to the actual water level itself. Now time to get the tubes in the right place. So that's all set, all ready to go. And you might be wondering where the water is going to come from. So that's where this tube comes into the picture. It is actually a very long lengthy tube that goes underneath the setup, so underneath the aquariums and also underneath the indoor garden, and then it all goes to the kitchen sink on the side, which I will show you all in a bit. So before that, just a quick one on the reasons why water levels drop. So this is, of course, there's water evaporation naturally, and since we use an air con, there is an accelerated evaporation that happens. And also in some of the tanks I have a humidifier installed, so that also further accelerates the water evaporation. So every week water level drops. So how much actually depends upon the tank and all the other factors that I just mentioned below. And most importantly, sometimes every 2 to 3 weeks I will also remove a little bit of water from the tank. Not a drastic change, just a little bit, and this is mainly to help the systems to have proper nitrite balance. And of course, just re-highlighting that it will not be a drastic change. Most of the time the battle is to combat the water that is lost to evaporation. So I'll show you the tube. So this is where the tube comes up to. I always hook it up here so that it's easily accessible from the kitchen sink. And this is the kitchen sink, and the tube can be accessed from here quite easily. So time to top up the water. Yes, I use tap water, so definitely I need to add a dechlorinator before I get it to the tank. So all set, I think that's enough water. So now to get the dechlorinator in. Now the water is ready and good to go to the tank. So we'll need to plug this to the outlet, and the inlet would be from the bucket. So 2 tubes, one coming in from the bucket, the other one going to the main tank. I also use a small stone at the end for the bucket so that the tube goes to the bottom of the bucket and there's no water left behind. Right now what I'm trying to do is top up water to the aquariums. So let's say if I want to remove water from the aquariums, all I need to do is just shuffle these particular tubes. That's all I need to do. So then basically the entire system can work in both ways. Either it can top up water to the tanks or it can remove water from the aquarium. So all you need to do is make sure that the tubes in the aquarium are properly submerged in water, otherwise it will not work. So I've just switched on the pump, so let's go check it out. So no water leakage, everything looks quite decent. This tube is behind the filter so you can't really see. Oh, there you go. So you can see the water flowing the other one. And let's check out the big tank. And there you go. There is water flowing there. Nice. So this is also working. Let me show you from the top. So as you can see, the entire setup is built in such a way so even if there's a tube leaking, it actually goes into the aquariums. So these are the tubes. So you can see I've just simply pinned them with a clip. And if it's a water change exercise, then all I need to do is submerge the clips into the water and reverse it in the pump. The flow is not bad. The pump is quite decently powerful but not overly powerful. So this will not really disrupt anything in the tank, like moving in the substrate or moving plants. So wherever needed, I can also control the flow, and that's where the divider really comes into handy. So now you know why I said that particular control is very important, especially if the tank is about to fill. All you need to do is just reduce the flow for that tank and increase the flow for the others. I also use the same tube for the main tank to be used for the beta tank. So once the main tank starts filling up, I'll just take that tube and put it into the beta tank, which is quite nearby. And this is mainly because beta tank doesn't really lose much water as with the other tanks because it's not really that planted. So the water levels are looking healthy now, and some are still filling, so I will increase the flow for those tanks and decrease or stop the flow for the ones that are already filled. The point to note out here is once the tubes are done, I always keep the tubes inside the tank itself, and you should not really put that or let it hang on to the flow. Reason is the whole point of setting this entire project is to prevent water spillage, so the water in the tubes will actually get out if you just let it hang. So it's best to put that in the tank itself. Of course, you got to hide it amongst the plants or behind the filter or something like that. So once everything is done, the tube goes to its original place. And also before I finish, just letting you all know that at least once in a month I will still be using the siphon to clean off the gravel and the substrate, mainly to remove debris from the tank. And this particular system would be more like my routine maintenance system, but however the traditional process is also in the equation. Just letting you all know, in case if anyone's just deciding purely use the system as a water change, I will not really recommend it. There needs to be a certain level of accountability and ensuring best practices. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video and also for your support so far. Feel free to comment and share your feedback. Thank you. See you all on my next video. சிலக்குட்டி எப்படி இருக்கு என்னோட மாஸ்டர் பிளான் பார்க்கல நீங்க? எது மாஸ்டர் பிளான்? பாருங்க, அங்கே தண்ணி எல்லாத்துக்கும் போய்கிட்டு இருக்கும். பாருங்க. அங்கே பின்னுக்கு போயிட்டுருக்கு கொஞ்சோண்டு அங்கே போகுது.